Security, or you can say separatism. Recently, the External Affairs Minister of India has suggested focusing on the nexus between the separatism and the organized crime. In simple terms, it is the demand for a separate statehood. It may take the form of a region demanding the creation of a separate independent state or renegotiation of the relationship with the state. There are demands in various regions for the reorganization of the relation between different regions, which may take the following form. Insurgency. It is an organized armed resistance against the state or the constituted authority with the aim of overthrowing the regime. Unlike terrorism, insurgency movements generally involve or require material or moral support from some section of the population in order to justify their existence and also to erode the legitimacy of the government. Justify their existence and erode the legitimacy of the government. Ideological or moist insurgency in the Eastern India movement for separate statehood. These movements generally assume three forms. Statehood movement, seeking a separate state consisting of a region from one or more existing state. Autonomy movement, they are collective mobilization of people in a region or across a region with the aim of getting autonomy for their region, for managing their economic, social, cultural, political affairs. For example, बोडोलैंड करबी दिमासा कचारीज ठीक है बोडोलैंड करबी दिमासा कचारी they accepted autonomy within the state of Assam. Bodoland, Karbi, Dimasa, Kachari, secessionist movement. It is also known as secession, in which a region in a country wants to secede or become a sovereign state. Secessionist movement. It is also known as a secession in which one region in a country wants to secede and become a sovereign state. One region in a country wants to secede and become a sovereign state. Secessionist movement. Okay, for example, the demand for Greater Nagaland. Bodoland, Karbi, Dimasa. Factors responsible for the rise of the separate changes, the regional imbalance of the economic development, the regional aspiration from the northeast India were mainly because the regional aspiration for northeast India were mainly because the region suffered neglect and development after independence. Concern regarding the secessionist movement, international and the financial support. International community support in the form of ideological and financial support. For example, support for the Nagaland movement linked with the organized crime. The secessionist movement often involve organized crime group like the drug trade to finance themselves, as seen in Kashmir. Effect on international relations. It can become harder in international diplomacy, as seen in issues such as Canada. Instability in this region. These movements often involve use of the violence against the state and the people of the region. Cultural identity. Demand for Nagaland is based on the preservation of their different culture and social practice. Preservation of their different cultural and the social practice. Based on the preservation of different cultural and social practice. After independence from the region, for the moment in Secession and Mizoram, was that some Mizos believed that they were never part of a British India, therefore did not belong to the Indian Union. Lack of transcendental loss of the possible confidence in the capacity of the state to protect their life as well as the property. For example, demand for a separate state in the West Africa and state law of Mali, Guinea and Burkina Faso कि भाई आप गवर्नमेंट हमें सपोर्ट नहीं कर सकती, पब्लिक का कॉन्फिडेंस है नहीं कि that the government is going to protect their life and property. Some people of Ukraine believe that it should integrate into the European Union, NATO, and other believes in close cooperation with Russia. Some people of Ukraine believe that it should integrate into the European Union and NATO, and others believe in close cooperation with Russia. International financial support. Many secessionist movements have support from the international community in the form of ideological and financial support. Many secessionist movements have support from the international community. Many secessionist movements have support from the international community in the form of ideological as well as the financial support. India's approach to separatist movement and other regional aspiration. Demographic negotiation. India has responded to regional aspiration through democratic negotiation rather than through separation. For example, signing the Mizo Accord to bring peace in Mizoram. Power sharing groups and the parties from the region are given a share in the power so that they have a say in the development, backward areas development. Special intention and planning to ensure the sustainable development. Special planning to ensure sustainable development of area with the inadequate infrastructure. ऐसा एरिया जहाँ पे inadequate infrastructure है वहाँ पे स्पेशल फोकस होता है. स्पेशल अटेंशन एंड प्लानिंग टू एंश्योर सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट ऑफ एरियाज विद इनएडिक्वेट इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर एंड लिमिटेड एक्सेस टू रिसोर्स बाय प्रोग्राम लाइक द एस्पिरेशनल डिस्ट्रिक्ट प्रोग्राम. Ensure development, settlement development of areas with inadequate infrastructure, limited access to resource by programs like aspirational district program. Flexibility of the constitution. There are some special provisions for some state and the region to have autonomy. The 6th schedule of the constitution allows different types complete autonomy of preserving their practice. 6th schedule of the constitution allows the different type of complete autonomy of preserving their practices and the customary laws. Use of force. Force is used against groups such as United Racial Repression Front of Assam for maintaining peace in the region. India's anti-terrorism approach. Union Home Minister, while addressing the anti-terror conference organized by the National Investigation Agency, highlighted the need to not only combat terrorism but also dismantle its entire ecosystem and suggested measures to combat terrorism. highlighted the need to not only combat terrorism but also dismantle its entire ecosystem. The Union Home Minister, while addressing the anti-terror conference organized by the National Investigation Agency, highlighted the need to not only combat terrorism. Union Home Minister, while addressing the anti-terror conference and while addressing the anti-terror conference organized by the National Investigation Agency, highlighted the need to not only combat terrorism but also dismantle its entire ecosystem and suggested measures to combat terrorism. India's approach to tackling terrorism, legislative framework, the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act of 1967 and the National Security Act of 1980 are the primary laws to combat terrorism. Dedicated law enforcement agency and National Investigation Agency act as India's primary counter-terrorism law enforcement organization, is supported by the Institute Research and Analysis Wing (IB), State Police Service, counting the financing of terrorism. India is a member of the Financial Action Task Force, Asia Pacific Group on Money Laundering, and the Eurasian Group. Counting violent extremism, the Ministry of Home Affairs is the lead agency of countering violent extremism, win the minds and the hearts of the people to reduce the chances of radicalization. The government has been taking development initiatives like the Civic Action Program, supporting civic action by security force, and the Udan scheme, capacity building of the youth in Jammu and Kashmir. Civic Action Program, Udan. International Easy Cooperation. India has leadership role in many regional and international, like the Global Counter-Terrorism Forum, where it has promoted multilateral counter-terrorism cooperation. In 1996, it took the initiative to pilot the Draft Comprehensive Convention on International Terrorism, Global Counter-Terrorism Forum, with the objective of providing a comprehensive legal framework to combat terrorism. Role of analyzing combating terrorism has been discussed more in subsequent article. Factors highlighting the need to change the approach towards terrorism. Lack of hierarchical structure in recent terrorist acts. Terrorists are relying on loose affiliation with like-minded groups from a variety of countries, and there is also the rise of lone wolf attack. So lack of hierarchical structure in recent terrorist acts, lone wolf attack, changing nature of weapons. Some terrorist groups now acquiring the capability to use chemical, biological, radiological or nuclear material. India is ranked 13 in the latest Global Terrorism Index 2023 and one of the worst affected countries by terrorism activity. Global Terrorism Index 2023 में इंडिया की रैंकिंग कितनी है? 13वीं. Global Terrorism Index 13 and one of the worst affected countries by terrorism. Use of technology authorities are making extensive use of new informed IT along with a coordinated cyber attack, exponentially increasing the risk of threat. IT cyber attack. New method of terrorism by dedicated crowdfunding platform or the website are being aimed for terror fencing. Given the volume and the variety of activity, it is difficult to detect the volume and the variety of activity. It is very difficult to detect the illicit activity. Lack of definition at a global level. There is a discrepancy in defining terrorism, as a result of which a universally accepted definition of terrorism is lacking. Next, with the organized crime, interlinking between the counterfeit goods producing good counterfeit good production and trade flora for a crime, drug trafficking sector and terrorist activities raise new concerns for India. Take an interlinking between counterfeit goods production and trade, flora and fauna, crime, drug trafficking. According to a report by FICCI, there is a good correlation between a drug trafficking and a terrorism. There is a good correlation between the drug trafficking and terrorism. Lack of integration, interagency cooperation, different anti-terrorist agencies. Anti-terrorist agencies are working at the center and the state level with limited cooperation and data exchange. Next is with organized crime. According to a report by FICCI, there is a good correlation between drug trafficking and terrorism. Lack of interagency cooperation, different anti-terrorist agencies are working at the center and the state level with limited cooperation and data interchange. Delays and complexities in the legal and the judicial system. Delay and complexities in the legal and judicial system. What are the key measures suggested in the conference? Model delays of the legal and judicial system. Key measures suggested in the conference. A model anti-terrorism structure should be established under the NI for all states. All ATAs should make multi-dimensional and artificial intelligence-based use of database in the fight against terrorism more powerful. All ATAs should make multi-dimensional and artificial intelligence-based use of model anti-terrorism structure should be established under the National Investigation Agency for all states. All ATAs, they should make multi-dimensional and artificial intelligence-based use of database in the fight against the terrorism, anti-terror actions more successful. India has prepared many database verticals such as interoperable criminal justice system, national automated fingerprint identification system, national integrated database on arrested narco offender, national database of human trafficking offenders which can be used for terrorism related investigation. All state ATAs should have uniform hierarchy and standard operating procedure to ensure the better cooperation between the center and the state agency. Uniform hierarchy, standard operating procedure to ensure better cooperation between the center and state agency. Uniform hierarchy, standard operating procedure to ensure better cooperation. Standard operating procedure, uniform hierarchy, database, NIA, anti-terrorism squad, special task force. They should think out of the box and take innovative measures to counter terrorism. NIA should help the Bureau of Police Research and Development in studying the modus operandi used by the terrorists to trap young boys. They should help the Bureau of Police Research and Development modus operandi used by the terrorists to trap young boys. Collaboration with the global level at the grassroots, involving various states within the country as also the international cooperation, creating a common training module so that uniformity can be brought in the methodology of combating terrorism. Other measures focus on the linkages of terrorism with other organized crime. Operation Dhwast case, NIA in coordination with Punjab and Haryana police busted a terrorist gangster drug arm trafficking nexus. Terrorist gangster drugs arms trafficking nexus. Cooperation with neighboring countries. The Parliamentary Standing Committee on External Affairs has recommended to establish a common platform to counter terror under the Neighborhood First policy. Strengthening the safety of the digital ecosystem. The growing importance of the digital ecosystem or cyberspace warrants dedicated efforts to make it more secure and robust. Strengthening the safety of the digital ecosystem. The growing importance of the digital ecosystem on the cyberspace warrants dedicated efforts to make it more secure and robust. To enable the same, Australia's essential 8 features for cybersecurity could be emulated. Strengthening the safety of digital ecosystem. The growing importance of the digital ecosystem or cyberspace. The growing importance of the digital ecosystem or the cyberspace warrant dedicated effort to make it more secure and robust. To enable the same, Australia's essential 8 features of cybersecurity could be emulated. Strengthening our democracy from within. Strengthening the democratic institution enables the government to gain the trust and cooperation of its citizens. National Investigation Agency (NIA) was created after the 2008 Mumbai terror attack with the enactment of National Investigation Agency Act 2008. To set the National Investigation Agency was created after the 2008 Mumbai terror attack with the enactment of National Investigation Agency Act to set the standard of excellence in counter-terrorism and standard operating procedures, uniform hierarchy, and other national security-related investigation at the national level with an oriented workforce. It works under the written proclamation of the Ministry of Mumbai. It is empowered to deal with terror-related crime across the state with special permission from the state. National Investigation Agency Act Amendment 2019 has given the power to investigate scheduled offences committed outside India. Role of scheduled offences committed outside India. Role of NIA in anti-terrorism effort. We need cooperation with it. It assists the all state and other investigation agencies in investigation of the terrorist case, ensure effective and speedy trial. In the year 2000, the overall conviction rate was about 94.4% data collection. NIA has given the task of creating a national database in several areas: narcotics, hawala transaction, arms smuggling, counterfeit currency, bomb blast, terror funding, and terrorism. In-depth professional investigation investigates crime where it is difficult to gather evidence. Alert and responsive measures. NIA has registered a number of cases against the overground workers in Jammu and Kashmir. Overground workers. Alert and responsive measures. NIA has registered a number of cases against the overground workers in Jammu and Kashmir and done well in destroying their sleeper cells. FICCI released report hidden streams and linkage between the illicit market, financial flow, organized crime, and terrorism. Okay. FICCI released report hidden streams, linkage between illicit market, financial flow, organized crime, and terrorism. The report investigates the hidden linkage in 122 countries and decodes the relationship between the organized crime actors and the illegal economy, including trade-based money laundering, counterfeiting, arms and drug trafficking, terrorism, and crime. The report investigates the hidden linkage in 122 countries and decodes the relationship between organized crime actors. The report investigates the hidden linkage in 122 countries and decodes the relationship between organized crime actors, illegal economy, including trace-based money laundering. Okay. FICCI released report hidden streams, linkage between the illicit market, financial flow, organized crime, and terrorism. The report investigates the hidden linkage in 122 countries and decodes the relationship between the organized crime actors and the illegal economy, including trace-based money laundering, counterfeiting, arms and drug trafficking, and terrorism and crime. Key highlight the report. United Nations estimates that the global amount of money laundered in a year is estimated to range from 2 to 5% of the global GDP. Money laundering 2 to 5% of the GDP. India related finding the total amount of money laundering in India as per the Union Office on Drugs and Crime estimated to be pegged at 159 billion. Global organized crime index shows a low prevalence of organized crime actors in India at 4.3 on a scale of 1 to 10 compared to the average benchmark of 5.2. The Directorate of Revenue Intelligence in India identified 437 instances of duty evasion and 40% increase from the previous year. India's informal economy increased the likelihood of counterfeit good production and trade and raising concerns about about the terrorist activities. Informal economy है तो counterfeit goods production and trade. Terrorist activity in 2021 the economic impact of violence in India was estimated as US 1.17 trillion, which accounts for approximately 6% of the country's GDP in terms of purchasing power parity. Adopting a 6 Cs as a policy playbook to negate the threat. Cognizance of terrorism and organized crime under regulatory framework, continuous and critical evaluation of illicit financial flow, central nodal agency for greater coordination, combating awareness and changing consumer preferences, creating awareness and changing consumer preference, combating trade-based money laundering, cooperation and coordination at international level. New India Air Force ensign. It was unveiled as IAF marked ensign. Okay, it was marked as IAF marked its 95th anniversary. New ensign includes the Air Force crest in the top right corner. IAF crest has a national symbol. ठीक है, इसमें क्या crest में क्या है national symbol? Ashoka lion on the top with the bird सत्यमेव जयते. And in Devanagari below it सत्यमेव जयते. Below the Ashoka lion is a Himalayan eagle with its wing spread, denoting the fighting qualities of an IAF. A ring in light blue, एक ring in light blue color encircles the Himalayan eagle with the word Bharatiya Vayu Sena. और IAF motto touching the sky with gloro is inspired by Bhagavad Gita. कहाँ से लिखा है? Bhagavad Gita. Now Sono boys, Indian Navy plan to equip MQ-9B Sea Guardian drones with sonobuoys. Sonobuoy is a small device used for underwater acoustic surveillance. It contains hydrophones that detect underwater sound, especially those made by submarines. These devices are deployed from aircraft or ship and transmit the real-time acoustic data, helping pinpoint a potential submarine threat. Simple exercise. It is an annual bilateral naval exercise between the Indian Navy and the Royal Republic of Singapore Navy. नेक्स्ट टॉपिक है इन्वायरमेंट का. ग्लोबल इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर रेजिलियंस. कोलिशन फॉर द डिजास्टर रेजिलियंट इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर रिलीज द फर्स्ट बायरियल रिपोर्ट ऑन द ग्लोबल इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर टाइटस. ग्लोबल इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर रेजिलियंस कैप्चरिंग द रेजिलियंस डिविडेंड. इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर रेजिलियंट इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर फॉर रेजिलियंस. अगर रेजिलियंट इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर है, एसेट रेजिलियंस, सर्विस रेजिलियंस, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर गवर्नेंस. Infrastructure for resilience, social and economic resilience, economic resilience, systemic resilience. What is infrastructure resilience? Infrastructure is defined by the UN as three physical structures, facilities, network and other assets which provide services that are essential to the social and economic functioning of a community or society. Resilience is the ability to prevent, resist, absorb, adapt, respond, recover positively. ये ability होती है to prevent, resist, absorb, adapt, respond and recover positively, efficiently, effectively. Resilience is the ability. आप prevent करो, resist, absorb, adapt. ओके एक मिनट. प्रिवेंट दो, एक भी है प्रिवेंट. आर से दो है resist, respond, absorb, adapt positively, efficiently, effectively when faced with a wide range of risk while maintaining an acceptable level of functioning. Resilient infrastructure that can absorb, respond, or recover from hazard events in the shock. Infrastructure that supports broader social, economic or systematic resilience without generating or accumulating new systemic risk. Global infrastructure risks and the need for infrastructure resilience. Obsolescence of infrastructure. Many countries, particularly those that industrialized prior to the World War II, they need to replace the obsolete infrastructure asset. Weak infrastructure governance, social and economic development in the lower income countries is constrained by large infrastructure deficit being aggravated by weak infrastructure governance. पहले तो infrastructure deficit है और जो भी है उसका governance सही नहीं है. Deficient planning, design, inadequate standards, ineffective regulation, compliance and low level of investment characterize weak infrastructure governance. Systemic risk such as climate change, biodiversity loss, they can be considered existential as they threaten the habitability of the planet. International agreement for climate change mitigation mandate a rapid transition from a carbon log infrastructure to low, zero or negative. Okay. International agreement for climate change mitigation mandate a rapid transition from a carbon logged in infrastructure to low, zero or negative emission infrastructure. Development benefit. Investigating to strengthen infrastructure resilience could set countries on a development trajectory characterized by quality, dependable essential service, reduced demand, damage to infrastructure asset, lowered systemic risk and sustainable development goal. Investing to strengthen the infrastructure resilience could set countries on a development trajectory characterized by quality, dependable, essential service, reduced damage to infrastructure asset, lower systemic risk, and sustainable development goal. Investing to strengthen infrastructure resilience could set countries on a development trajectory. Investigating to strengthen infrastructure resilience could set countries on a development trajectory characterized by quality and dependable essential service. Investing to strengthen infrastructure resilience could set countries on a development trajectory characterized by the quality, dependable, essential service, reduce damage to the infrastructure asset, lower systemic risk, and sustainable development goal. Disproportionate impact: the resource required in low middle income countries for infrastructure resilience and or at least one order of magnitude greater than current investment. Infrastructure finance: recent estimates of the annual investment required to address the infrastructure deficit, achieve the SDC, achieve net zero by 2050, amount to 9.2 trillion. Annual investment required to address the infrastructure deficit, achieve the sustainable development goal, achieve net zero by 2050, amount to 9.2 trillion. In the coming year, it is expected that just 4 countries, China, India, Japan, USA, they will account for 50% of total global infrastructure investment. Nature-based infrastructure solution (NBIs) refer to practices that concurrently protect and provide infrastructure. Nature-based infrastructure ऐसा infrastructure adapt to provide infrastructure adapt to climate change, promote environmental integrity, biodiversity, provide social well-being. If widely adopted, they can play a crucial role in strengthening resilience, environmental integrity, biodiversity. Safeguarding traditional infrastructure. Nature-based infrastructure resilience can be used to complement, substitute, or safeguard traditional grey infrastructure, thus representing a paradigm shift towards building with nature. Low cost. NBIs cost on average only 51% of the grey infrastructure process. Reducing carbon emission. NBIs also reduce the carbon emission across infrastructure cycle, which will enable avoiding land use change, extending infrastructure lifespan. Infrastructure lifespan बढ़ जाएगा, land use change. It will across infrastructure life cycle enable avoiding land use change, extending infrastructure lifespan. Socio-economic outcome. NBIs increase opportunities for women involvement in decision making and governance, particularly in rural areas. It has the potential to create estimated 59 million by 2030. Widespread adoption of NBIs would influence the achievement of SDG. Okay. Functional categorization of NBIs deliver infrastructure service directly can reduce or avoid need for engineered infrastructure asset. NBIs such as wetland, road, and pond, they can filter pollutant, disseminate waste, and provide water treatment facilities. They deliver infrastructure service directly, enhance engineered infrastructure function, increase efficiency, reduce the need for maintenance. Riparian vegetation can stabilize soils and reduce sedimentation, thus reducing need for dredging. Riparian vegetation, they can stabilize soil, reduce sedimentation, reducing the need for dredging. Protection from climate impact. Agroforestry can help in reducing the occurrence of a shallow, rapidly moving landslide. Boost health of infrastructure worker and improve productivity. Boost health of infrastructure worker, improve productivity. Benefit the worker: boost the health of infrastructure worker and improve productivity. Infra worker and improve productivity. Social benefit: advancing global targets such as SDGs and Paris Agreement. Promotion of opportunities for women's involvement in decision making. Promotion of opportunities for women involvement in decision making. Social benefit: advancing global targets SDG and Paris Agreement, promoting opportunities for women's involvement. Boost health infrastructure worker, improve productivity, protection from climate effect. Agroforestry can help in reducing the occurrence of a shallow, rapidly moving landslide, increase efficiency, reduce need for maintenance. Riparian vegetation can reduce avoid need for engineered इतना. ओके यहाँ पे क्या होता है NBI सोल्यूशन का? सेव गार्ड द ट्रेडिशनल इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, ग्रे इकोनॉमी से लो कॉस्ट 51% होती है, रिड्यूसिंग कार्बन एमिशन एंड सोशो इकोनॉमिक डेवलपमेंट, वुमेन्स इन्वॉल्वमेंट, 59 million jobs and achievement of SDG. Challenges for integrating NBIs. Knowledge required. NBIs require new interdisciplinary knowledge and skill set that traditional engineers and architects do not necessarily possess. Lack of research. Rarely can one find research that quantifies the ecosystem service, integrates nature-based values into modeling, cost-benefit accounting, and facilitate the design of NBIs. They can integrate nature-based values into designing, modeling, cost-benefit accounting. Lack of risk assessment. Without a credible and robust risk identification process. पहले तो ना ही रिस्क आइडेंटिफिकेशन प्रोसेस, ऐसा प्रोसेस जो रिस्क को आइडेंटिफाई करता है, तो विदाउट अ क्रेडिबल एंड robust risk identification, it is impossible to identify the resilience dividend that can accrue through adopting NBIS. NBIS may sometimes be unattractive politically precisely because it reduces opportunities for privatized profit. Gestation period. NBIS is often a slow solution in a context where many infrastructure requirements need quick action. NBIS is often a slow solution in a context जहाँ पे many infrastructure requirement need quick action. अब ये slow solution है, politically unattractive because it reduces opportunities for privatized profit. Integrating NBIS research, carefully reviewed, curated, up-to-date, multilingual, policy available research, library, design standard, and case study essential. All countries, particularly low middle income countries, will need National Center of Excellence in NBIS. Outcome linked NBIS, linking NBIS monitoring to the achievement of the SDG and global common goals may facilitate its greater uptake. Regulation, effective legislation to protect and enhance ecosystem is necessary to encourage the greater investment in NBIS. Investment ज़्यादा करना है. Rating system, rating tools can serve as a market signal for resilience or sustainability and provide verified examples of good practice. अगर rating tool होगा, they can serve as a market signal for resilience, sustainability, provide verified example of good practice. Resilience, sustainability, verified example of good practice. For example, green rating for integrated habitat assessment in India. Global standard, prescriptive global standard for NBIS could provide a pathway for greater project financing incentives. Integrating NBIS into existing pipelines of green infrastructure leaf system can be a way to achieve scale, reduce loss and damage to infrastructure asset, and prevent loss of biodiversity. Loss and damage to infrastructure can give infrastructure and into existing pipelines of the green infrastructure delivery system can be a way to achieve scale, reduce loss and damage, and prevent loss of biodiversity. The long design life cycle of many infrastructure assets will be key to making investment resilient and configure development trajectories in the decade to come. At the same time, strengthening infrastructure resilience is critical to address existential risk associated with catastrophic climate change and biodiversity loss. At the same time, strengthening infrastructure resilience is critical to address existential risk with catastrophic climate change and biodiversity loss. The long design life cycle of manufacture will be the key to making investment resilient, configure development trajectories in the decades to come. Glacial lake outburst flood. ठीक है, Sikkim witnessed the glacial lake outburst flood due to the bursting of the southern bank of South लोनाक लेक. लोनाक एक है लाचन चू और लाचंग चू. लाचेन चू रिवर, लाचंग चू, they met at Chungthang to flow down as Tista river. Lachen Chu, Lachung Chu, they meet at Chungthang to flow down as Tista river. Lachen, Lachung. Cause for Sikkim flood disaster. Sikkim disaster was primarily triggered by the catastrophic combination of factors: glacier melting. Sikkim's South Lonak Lake is situated in a high altitude glacier rise region. Soon experienced accelerated melting due to the climate change. This led to the lake expansion. Glacial lake outburst flood. The pressure and the volume reached the critical point, causing the lake to breach its boundaries, resulting in GLO combined with excessive rainfall due to cloudburst, triggering the devastating flash flood. GLO एक sudden catastrophic event है जहाँ पे glacial lake, often damaged by a glacier or a moraine, burst open, releasing an immense volume of water, rock, and debris downstream. Chungthang Dam. The flood waters reached the Tista 3 hydel project at Chungthang via the Lachen River and were worsened by release of water from Chungthang Dam. About Glacial Lake and Glacial Lake outburst flood. Glacial lakes, they are large bodies of water that sit in front, on top of or beneath the melting glacier. As they grow larger in size, they become more dangerous because glacial lakes are mostly dammed by unstable ice or sediment composed of loose rock and debris. Due to the global warming, glaciers are retreating and glacial lakes are expanding in the size and the number. जैसे जैसे बढ़ता जाएगा, they will mostly be dammed by unstable ice or sediment composed of loose rock and debris. Glacial lake outburst flood. It is a sudden release of significant amount of water in a glacial lake, irrespective of the cause. Glacial lake outburst floods vulnerability in India. As per the recent ICIMOD report, Hindu Kush Himalaya high rise assessment road in the event of global warming between 1.5 degree to 2 degrees Celsius by 21st, glaciers are said to lose 30 to 50% of their volume compared with 2015. More than 9 million people in the high mountain Asia Surrounded by the mountain range of Tian Shan, Pamir, Hindu Kush, Karakoram, Kulin Shah, they are vulnerable to glacial lake outbursts. India has witnessed at least 3 highly devastating glacial lake outburst flood events in the Ganga and the Brahmaputra basin over the last decade. केदारनाथ 2013, चमोली 2021, सिक्किम 2023. केदारनाथ 2013, चमोली 2021 एंड सिक्किम 2023. केदारनाथ 2013, चमोली 2021 एंड सिक्किम 2023. Glacial lake outburst flood even in the Ganga and Brahmaputra basin over the last decade. केदारनाथ 2013, चमोली 2021, सिक्किम 2023. Effect of glacial lake outburst flood. Disastrous due to the unanticipated character, peak discharge, fast and violent movement. Catastrophic impact on human lives. Livelihood, basic service, drinking water, sanitation, health, education. Destruction of infrastructure such as habitation, road, energy projects, sewage network, etc. Destruction of ecological system and agri-food system. They can result in other disasters such as landslide. Effect of glacial lake outburst flood. Disaster due to an anticipated character. Disaster should be characterized as an unanticipated. Peak discharge, fast and violent movement, catastrophic impact on human life. Catastrophic impact on human life, livelihood, basic service, drinking water, sanitation, health and education. Destruction of infrastructure such as habitation. पहले तो ये बहुत ही अनएंटिसिपेटेड करेक्टर होता है. पीक डिस्चार्ज, फास्ट एंड वायलेंट मूवमेंट. कैटास्ट्रॉफिक इम्पैक्ट ऑन ह्यूमन लाइफ, लाइवलीहुड, बेसिक सर्विस, ड्रिंकिंग वाटर, सैनिटेशन, हेल्थ एंड एजुकेशन. डिस्ट्रक्शन ऑफ इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर सच एज हैबिटेशन, रोड, एनर्जी प्रोजेक्ट, सीवेज नेटवर्क. डिस्ट्रक्शन ऑफ इकोलॉजिकल सिस्टम एंड एग्री फूड सिस्टम. दे कैन रिजल्ट इन अदर डिजास्टर्स सच एज लैंडस्लाइड. Agriculture, food system, destruction of infrastructure, catastrophic impact on human life, livelihood, basic service. ओके. केदारनाथ में 2013, चमोली में 2021, सिक्किम में 2023. चमोली 2021, सिक्किम 2023. What are the cause? Increased flow in the stream, short and the seasonal river tributaries and the main river stream after the initiation of the high intensity rainfall is largely the genesis of flash flood. Cloudburst refers to an extreme amount of rain that occurs in a short span of time. Predict cloudburst is extremely difficult according to I. Rainstorms are characterized by either substantial, extreme or heavy rainfall over a particular area for a particular period. Human increase in continuous push toward the centralized development and increasing tourism economy is leading to the haphazard construction in vulnerable regions. These include continuous push toward the centralized development, increasing tourism economy. ठीक है, centralized development हो रहा है और tourism economy is leading to the haphazard construction in vulnerable region. These include commissioning of hydropower project in vulnerable region prone to seismicity, landslide and other disaster, unsustainable and unplanned infrastructure in ecologically fragile areas. Hydropower project, unsustainable, unplanned infrastructure, climate change, increased warming of the planet due to anthropogenic emission of greenhouse gas and pollutant. Climate change, increased warming due to anthropogenic emission of greenhouse gas, unsustainable and unplanned infrastructure. Flood mitigation. National Disaster Management Authority, it issued guidelines for the management of flood and the specific roles of various central and the state agencies. NDMA issued guidelines on the management of the glacial lake outburst floods in 2020, urban flooding in 2010 and the flood management in 2008. Flood 2008, urban flooding 2010, glacial lake outburst in 2020. Structural measures. Creation of the reservoir, depression, embankment, channelization of river, improvement of channel, drainage, watershed management, etc. Floodplain zoning. It aims at demarcating zones likely to be affected by floods of different magnitude or frequencies and ensures the type of permissible development in these zones. Early warning system. Anyway has planned to install early warning system for the real-time alert at most of the 56 at-risk glacial lakes in India. Guidelines for hydropower. Central Electricity Authority has issued guidelines for the slope stability inclines that can withstand movement in hydropower project. Guidelines for hydro. Central Electricity Authority has issued guidelines for slope stability includes inclines that can withstand movement in hydropower project. Okay, NDMA guidelines. Hazard and risk mapping provide the basis for prioritizing, designing. अगर hazard and risk mapping करोगे तो आप prioritize कर पाओगे, design कर पाओगे and implement the risk management strategies, monitor, assess कर लो, then monitor the risk reduction and mitigation measures. Early warning systems are the most effective approach to disaster mitigation. Awareness and preparedness on short, mid and longer time. Capacity development should focus on both on training and strengthening the academic institution. Disaster response. There is a well-established disaster response procedure at national, state, and community level. Research and development, repeated monitoring using advanced space-borne and terrestrial technology for regular reassessment of lakes across the entire Himalayan region, measure the current risk assessment. Comprehensive risk assessment of the vulnerable regions should inform the disaster risk strategies, monitor data collection, intense monitoring and forecasting of the meteorological event near the vulnerable glacier, lake, and river is necessary. Climate mitigation effort and adaptive measures need to be taken to protect the communities and infrastructure from the escalating risk. Use of technology. Vulnerable zones can be identified using the remote sensing and geographic information system, drone and light detecting region. Drone light detection and ranging technology. Collective resilience, institutionalizing social, cultural, and localized knowledge and practice for institutional and collective resilience, social, cultural, localized knowledge and practice for developing local warning system and to build collective resilience. Take a green grey infrastructure, retention basin, wetland, vegetation shield, sediment trap, flood wall, diversion channel. ठीक है वैसे retention basin, wetland, vegetation shield, sediment trap, flood wall, diversion channel. They can improve the geomorphology of the mountain river. Also infrastructure project in mountain जैसे कि dam, bridges, highway. They must be subject to stringent quality control measures. Infrastructure projects in mountains जैसे कि dam, bridges and highway, they must be subjected to stringent quality control measures. In mountains, stringent quality control measures. Epic response framework. World Bank has put forward a new perspective to better manage the flood and drought risk. The Epic response framework. World Bank has put forward a new perspective to better manage flood and drought risk. The Epic response framework. Epic is enable, plan, invest, control. Epic response framework by World Bank. Enable, plan, invest, control. Use in short. Coral reef breakthrough. Coral reef breakthrough was launched by the International Coral Reef Initiative in partnership with the Global Fund for Coral Reef and a high-level climate champion. It aims to prevent the extension of at least 125,000 km of shallow water tropical coral reef. Shallow water prevent extension of 125,000 km square of shallow water tropical coral reef. Action plan to achieve the target. Mitigate local drivers of loss including land-based source of pollution, destructive coastal development. देखो pollution कर रहे हो, land-based pollution, destructive coastal development, overfishing. ये हो गया. Mitigate local drivers. Bolster resilience base for coral reef conservation efforts by resilience-based coral reef conservation effort by aligning with and surprising global coastal protection target including 30 by 30. Target 3 of Kunming-Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework, that is at least 30% of the terrestrial and inland water areas and marine and coastal areas should be conserved by 2030. Bolster resilience-based coral reef conservation. Mitigate local drivers of loss including land-based source of pollution, destructive coastal development and overfishing. Land-based source of pollution, destructive coastal development, overfishing. Bolster resilience-based coral reef conservation efforts by aligning with and surpassing global coastal protection target including 30. Bolster resilience effort by aligning with and surpassing global coastal protection target including 30 by 30. Target 3 of Kunming-Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework of at least 30% of the terrestrial and inland water areas, marine and coastal areas, they should be conserved. 30% of the inland, terrestrial, coastal and marine areas to be conserved by 2030. Kunming-Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework. Assess 30 by 30. Assess development and implementation of innovative solutions at scale and climate smart design that support coral to impart 30% of degraded reef by 2030 and to impact 30% of degraded reef by 2030. Assess development and implementation of the innovative solution at scale and climate smart design that support coral to impact 30% of degraded reef by 2030. Assist development and implementation of innovative solution at scale and climate smart design that support coral to impact 30% of the degraded reef by 2030. Secure investment of at least $12 billion by 2030 from public and the private source to conserve. कितना secure investment of at least $12 billion by 2030 in the public and private source to conserve and restore. कोरल रीफ को रिस्टोर और कंजर्व करने के लिए कितना बिलियन चाहिए? 12 बिलियन बाय 2030. 30% of degraded reef by 2030 at scale and can design that support coral to impact 30% of degraded reef by 2030. Coral reefs are made up of colonies of hundreds to thousands of tiny individual corals called Polyps. Okay, corals called polyps. These marine invertebrate animals, they have a tiny individual coral called polyp. These marine invertebrate animal, they have hard exoskeleton made of calcium carbonate. In India, Gulf coral reefs are present in Gulf of Kutch, Gulf of Mannar, Andaman Nicobar, and Lakshadweep. International Coral Reef Initiative was started in 1994 by Australia, France. Okay, Australia, France, Japan, Jamaica, Philippines, Sweden, UK, USA. Global partnership to preserve coral reef and related ecosystem around the world. Preserve coral reef and related ecosystem 101 member. इंडिया इसका member है. 40 country का constituents and 35%. 45 countries constituents 25% of the world coral reef. Coral reef breakthrough to secure the future of at least 1,25,000 kilometer a square of shallow water tropical reef. एक बार फिर से एक बार देख लेते हैं. तो यहाँ इंडिया में पता ही है तुमको. ओके 1,25,000. Mitigate local drivers of loss, bolster resilience based coral reef continues at least 30 by 30, 33, 30, at least Kunming, Montreal global partnership at least 30% of terrestrial and marine and ocean areas could be conserved by 2030. Assess development and implementation of innovative solution to impact 30% of regulated reef by 2030. Secure investment of at least 12 million by 2030. Okay. Sustainable finance. A report on sustainable finance was released by the UNESCAP. Sustainable finance title Sustainable Finance Bridging the Gap in the Asia and the Pacific. Sustainable finance refers to the financing of the sustainable activities as well as finance that is sustainably managed. Sustainable finance refers to financing of sustainable finance. Financing sustainable finances, sustainable activities as well as finance that is sustainably managed. Keeping there is sufficient capital and liquidity to close the global financial gap in the sustainable finance. Asia Pacific region is not on track to meet the achievement goal by 2030. Only 17 of the 51 Asia Pacific countries, they are parties to UNFC. That are parties to the UNFC. They have assessed and reported their financial need to meet their nationally determined contribution. Average economic losses resulting from the disaster and the natural disasters in the region may increase from 1.1 trillion to 1.4 trillion. Climate change under a high emission scenario could impose 35% GDP losses in India by 21st century. Recommendation. Action for the policy makers, regulators and the private finance include commitment to net zero pledges for 2050 with credible transition pathway including 2030 goal. Net zero pledges for 2050 with credible transition pathway including 2030 goal. Policy coherence capacities develop across key government ministries. Policy coherence capacity building, reducing sectoral mismatches, regional mismatches between the capital investment need, local currency financing of energy transition project as well as green technology and other net zero investment. Local currency financing of energy transition project as well as green technology and other net zero investment. Local currency financing of energy transition. Local currency financing of energy transition project as well as green technology and other net zero investment. Local currency financing of energy transition project as well as green technology and other net zero investment. Local currency financing, green technology, net zero investment. Local currency financing of energy transition project as well as green technology, net zero investment. Concessional financing, risk sharing by the multilateral development bank, bilateral development financial institution. Concessional financing and risk sharing. Net zero pledges for 2050, credible transition pathways, policy coherence, capacity is developed, reducing sectoral regional mismatches, local currency financing of energy transition project of as well as green technology, concessional financing and risk sharing. Okay, United Nations Economic and Social Commission for the Asia and the Pacific. इसका headquarter Thailand, Bangkok. Established the Economic Commission for the Asia and the Far East in 1947 and in Shanghai, and then become United Nations Economic Social Commission for the Asia and Pacific in 1994. It is an intergovernmental platform in the Asia Pacific, one of the 5 regional commission of the UN. Other belong to Africa, Europe, Western. 53 member state है, 9 associate members हैं. India इसका member है. Promoting cooperation among the members in pursuit of the solution to the sustainable development challenges (SDG) to submit cooperation in pursuit of SDG. SDG Progress Assessment Report, Asia Pacific Disaster Report, Net Zero Roadmap. A report on Net Zero Roadmap was released by the International Energy Agency titled A Global Pathway to Achieve 1.4 degrees Celsius in reach. Limiting the global warming to 1.5 is becoming harder, but a narrow window remains because clean energy infrastructure has grown around the world. Clean energy like solar, electric car are among the technologies which together deliver one third of the emission reduction between today. Deliver 1/3 of the emission reduction between today and 2030 in the pathway, suggesting tripling renewable capacity by the end of the decade. डिकेड के अंत होने में रिन्यूएबल ट्रिपलिंग रिन्यूएबल कैपेसिटी यूजिंग कार्बन कैप्चर यूटिलाइजेशन एंड स्टोरेज CCUS कार्बन कैप्चर स्टोरेज. Okay. Climate impact, loss and damage in Sundarban. Experts from India and Bangladesh believe that the climate change have triggered loss and damage in the Sundarban should be seen as a global common. This is because the region gets significantly affected despite contributing minimal to the carbon emission. Global common are areas and the potential economic resources that lie beyond the national jurisdiction. High sea, atmosphere, or Antarctica and outer space. High sea हो गया, atmosphere, Antarctica and outer space, and to which all nations have the access. Conventions and the treaties to govern the global commons include United Nations Convention on Law of the Sea, UN Clause 92, Antarctic Treaty System, Treaty on the Principle governing the activities of state in exploration and use of outer space. Sundarban is a cluster of low-lying islands in the Bay of Bengal spread across India, 40% Bangladesh, 60%. It lies on the delta of the Ganga, Brahmaputra and Meghna River. It is the largest area of mangrove forest in the world. It is designed as a cultural UNESCO World Heritage Site and according to the status of wetlands of international imported by Ramsar under Ramsar Convention. फौना क्या है यहाँ पे? एस्ट्रोइन क्रोकोडाइल है, रॉयल बंगाल टाइगर है, वाटर मॉनिटर लिजर्ड है, गैंस्टिक डॉल्फिन है, ऑलिरेटेड टर्टल है, थ्रेट वनरेबल टू फ्लड, earthquake, cyclone, sea level rise and coastline erosion. Loss and damage are a term used to describe how climate change is already causing serious and irrevocable impacts around the world, particularly in vulnerable communities. Cutting methane from fossil fuel. A report titled Imperative of Cutting Methane from the Fossil Fuel was prepared by the International Energy Agency with contribution from the United Nations Environment Programme, United Nations Environment Programme, convened Climate and Clean Air Coalition. CCAC, founded in 2012, is the only international body working to reduce the short-lived climate pollutant. Only international body which is working to reduce the short-lived climate pollutant, that is methane, black carbon and hydrofluorocarbon that drive both climate change and air pollution. Key finding: targeted methane mitigation from the fossil fuel could avoid 0.1 degree warming by 2050. 0.1 degree warming. Without targeted action on methane, increasing global average surface temperature will likely exceed 1.6 degrees Celsius by 2050. Methane mitigation by 2050 can prevent nearly 1 million premature deaths due to ozone exposure. अगर मीथेन ऐसे ही गिरता रहा तो 1 मिलियन प्रीमेच्योर डेथ होगी बाय ओजोन एक्सपोजर. 90 मिलियन टन्स ऑफ द क्रॉप लॉसेस. 90 मिलियन ton of crop loss of wheat, rice, soy and maize due to ozone and climate change. About 85 billion hours of the lost labor loss, productivity loss as well as premature death. Methane is a greenhouse gas and responsible for 30% of a global warming. Around 580 million tons of the methane is emitted from every year globally. 60% of which come from the human activities, जैसे कि landfills हो गया, agriculture practice हो गया, waste water treatment हो गया. उसके बाद फिर it is the second largest contributor to climate change after the carbon dioxide. सबसे ज़्यादा कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड क्लाइमेट चेंज में करता है. उसके बाद फिर मीथेन करता है. इनिशिएटिव ग्लोबल मीथेन प्लस वॉज लॉन्च एट COP26 इन 2021. ग्लोबल मीथेन प्लस वॉज लॉन्च एट COP26. 2021 में COP26 हुआ था, उसमें ग्लोबल मीथेन प्लस लॉन्च किया था. ग्लोबल गोबर लैंडफिल, एग्रीकल्चर प्रैक्टिस, वेस्ट वाटर ट्रीटमेंट. गोबर galvanizing organic bioagro resource, that is Govardhan scheme. Galvanizing organic bioagro resource, Govardhan scheme. It is an umbrella initiative of the Ministry of Jal Shakti to global methane pledge to cut methane emission by at least 30% by 2030 from 2020 to 2012. It supports conversion of the waste into resource and reduction of the methane emission. Decarbonization of the cement industry. In the cement industry, pyroprocessing limestone and the clay are heated in a kiln to more than 1400 degrees Celsius and calcination. Calcium carbonate is heated. They are the major process which causes the carbon emission. Need for decarbonization in the cement industry. It is the second largest industrial emitter in the world after iron and steel. Second largest इंडस्ट्रियल एमिटर इन द वर्ल्ड. सेकेंड लार्जेस्ट इंडस्ट्रियल एमिटर. सबसे ज़्यादा एमिशन होता है आयरन एंड स्टील से, फिर सीमेंट वाली से होता है. लाइमस्टोन एंड clay are heated in a kiln at more than 14 calcination. Calcium carbonate is heated are major process. Contribution about 7% of the CO2 emission globally. Important to achieve the commitment of net zero emission by 2050 or 2030 as pledged by the India. Challenges in India. It is one of the fastest urbanizing India is one of the fastest urbanizing countries and witnessing a housing and infrastructure boom. Lack of the availability of alternatives for pyroprocessing and calcination, limited initiative and economic measure. Initiative become economic measures become a promote sectoral energy efficiency enhancement. Limited initiative and economic measures promote sectoral energy efficiency enhancement. Increase the share of the blended cement, minimizing the use of limestone by using another substitute. Increase the share of blended cement. ओके मिनिमाइजिंग इसमें क्या है लाइमस्टोन का यूज़ कम हो जाएगा बाय यूजिंग अनदर सब्सटीट्यूट. इंक्रीज द शेयर ऑफ रिसाइकल मटेरियल्स इन प्रोडक्शन. मोर रिसाइकलिंग शुरू करो. ब्लेंडेड सीमेंट यूज़ करो. मोर यूटिलाइजेशन ऑफ ऑल्टरनेटिव फ्यूल लाइक diffused derived fuel, industrial waste and biomass. Using innovative technologies like carbon capture, utilization and storage. Diffused derived fuel, industrial waste and biomass. RDF, diffuse derived fuel, industrial waste and biomass. Diffuse derived fuel, industrial waste and biomass. कैसे होता है? Alternative fuel, diffuse derived fuel, industrial waste, biomass. Composition. India currently produces 4 types of cement whose constituents play a key role in determining emission. Typical composition in percentage: limestone, clinker, fly ash, slag, gypsum. Total carbon dioxide emission factor ton of CO2 per ton of cement. India running out of the phosphorus. Phosphorus is one of the macronutrient essential for the plant growth, which is required by the plant for photosynthesis process. Energy transfer, nutrient movement within the plant. ठीक है, photosynthesis के लिए energy transfer, nutrient movement and energy transfer. Strong root development, transfer of genetic characteristic. India is the largest importer of phosphorus, most of it from the cadmium laden deposit. Okay, India is the world's largest importer of phosphorus, most of it from the cadmium laden deposit of West Africa. Photosynthesis के लिए strong root development, transfer of genetic characteristic. Phosphorus rocks are majorly produced only from the two states in India, namely Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh. Some deposits are also present in the central part of the peninsula India, that is Lalitpur, Uttar Pradesh, Mussoorie syncline and Kadapa basin of Andhra Pradesh, Kadapa. Concerns with phosphorus availability. And most places phosphorus coexists with cadmium, a heavy metal whose removal is very expensive. Handful of the countries such as Morocco, Western Sahara, China, Algeria, etc. control most of the world resources of phosphorus, which is a major geopolitical concern. Morocco, Western Sahara, Algeria and China. Harmful effect of phosphorus. Most of the phosphorus is lost directly to the water bodies as agriculture runoff through sewage, which leads to the growth of the toxic algal bloom. Cadmium laden fertilizers are often applied to the soil, absorbed by crop, consumed, then bioaccumulated in human bodies, asserting heart disease. Ways to reduce the phosphorus: possibly reduce use of chemical fertilizer through precision agriculture, adoption of low input agroecological approaches, mining urban sewage to produce phosphorus. Conocarpus trees. It is an invasive mangrove species recently banned by the Gujarat government. Earlier, Telangana government has also banned it. Conocarpus is a genus of 2 species of flowering plant in the family of Combritaceae, native to tropical region of the world. It is widely used in public spaces for its ornamental look. Flowering in these trees takes place in winter, and the particle spreading from it causes cold, coughing, asthma, allergy, harm to human being nearby. Conocarpus trees. Roots of these species go deep inside the soil, develop extensively, damaging telecommunication lines, drainage lines and freshwater system. Amazon River Basin. As Lake Puraquequara dried up, floating villages have turned to mud flat. So lake lies on Amazon River Basin, which is facing severe drought due to El Nino and the warming of the El Nino चल रहा है and the warming of northern tropical Atlantic Ocean water. तो अमेजॉन रिवर बेसिन में काम नहीं आ रहा, तो लेक पूरा क्विकवारा ड्राई हो गई. These climate phenomena are aggravated by the global warming, burning of fossil fuel. Amazon River Basin, largest drainage basin of the world, covers about 34% of South America, harvests 60% of the world's rainforest and harvests 10% of the planet known forms of life. 60% of the world's rainforest and harvest 10% of the planet known form of life. Countries covered: Brazil, इक्वेटर भी पास करता है, ट्रॉपिक ऑफ कैप्रिकॉर्न पास थ्रू है, इक्वेटर, ट्रॉपिक ऑफ कैप्रिकॉर्न पास करता है, बी से ब्राज़ील, फिर बोलीविया, फिर आता है कोलंबिया, सी से बी, सी डी से कुछ नहीं, ई से इक्वेटर, बी सी डी ई एफ जी गुयाना, गुयाना के बाद पेरू, सूरिनाम, वेनेजुला। पेट्रोलियम, कोक और पेट कोक। Supreme Court and the Commission for the Air Quality Management to consider issues related to the distribution of highly polluting pet coke. Pet coke व्यक्ति carbon rich solid material होता है derived from the final cracking process of the crude oil refining. जब हम crude oil को refine कर रहे होते हैं उसमें cracking process होता है, उसी टाइम पे pet coke निकलता है. It is useful as a replacement of coal due to higher calorific value. किसका replacement है? coal का, because of the higher calorific value. रिप्लेसमेंट, इट इज यूज्ड एज रिप्लेसमेंट ऑफ कोल ड्यू टू हायर कैलोरीफिक वैल्यू. ये हाइड्रोफोबिक है, लेस वोलेटाइल एंड प्रोड्यूसर्स लोएस्ट रेसिड्यू. हाइड्रोफोबिक, लेस वोलेटाइल, लो रेसिड्यू. इट इज यूज्ड इन सीमेंट मैन्युफैक्चरिंग, लाइम किल्स, इंडस्ट्री ऑफ ऑयल्स, एल्यूमिनियम एंड एक्सेट्रा. यूनिफाइड रजिस्ट्रेशन पोर्टल फॉर गोवर्धन. पोर्टल सीक्स टू स्ट्रीमलाइन द रजिस्ट्रेशन ऑफ द compressed बायोगैस and biogas plant nationwide. CBG or biogas plant registered in the portal are eligible for assistance of rupees 1500 MT under the Market Development Assistance Scheme of the Ministry of Chemicals and Fertilizer. Market Development Assistance Scheme of Ministry of Chemicals and Fertilizer. CBG portal seeks to streamline the registration of the compressed biogas Unified Port Registration Portal for Govardhan. Portal seeks to streamline the registration of compressed biogas CG and biogas plant nationwide. CBG biogas plant registered in the portal. They are eligible for assistance of rupees 1500 MT under the Market Development Assistance Scheme of the Ministry of Chemicals and the Fertilizer. Govardhan Galvanizing Organic Bio Agro Resource Dhan scheme of the Ministry of Jal Shakti to generate wealth and energy by converting the cattle dung, agriculture waste, other organic waste into biogas, sewage and biofilter. Polyethylene terephthalate degrading enzyme. Researchers have identified PET polyethylene terephthalate 46 from a deep sea microorganism for the first time. PET poly lightweight plastic that is widely used for packaging food and beverages, soft drink हो गया, water etc. PET 46 क्या था? Polyethylene terephthalate. Polyethylene terephthalate. Protein enzyme unique is in ability to degrade both the long chain and the short chain PET molecule, enabling continuous degradation. Long chain, short chain PET molecule enabling continuous degradation. Degrade both long chain and short chain PET modules, enabling continuous degradation. Second, potentially break down PET waste in the ocean, effectively contributing to effort to combat the plastic pollution. Contribute to undermine the ecological role of deep sea archaea, marine organism. Other PET degrading enzymes include PETase, METase, the TST, CAT1, maize ministerial, newly discovered species of pangolin. Scientists have discovered a newly species of highly endangered pangolin, and about pangolin, they only mammal wholly covered in scale. 4 species live in Africa: black belly, white belly, giant ground pangolin, Taminic ground pangolin, Indian pangolin, Philippine pangolin, Sunda pangolin, Chinese pangolin. Chinese, Philippine and Sunda pangolin are listed as critically. Chinese, Philippine and Sunda. Chinese, Philippine, Sunda pangolin are critically endangered. I read list. Indian pangolin listed in Schedule 1 of the Bioprotection and endangered on the IUCN Red List. Menace mysteria. Damsel fly species. A new damsel fly species found in the Western Ghat Kerala named Armageddon reed tail. The name Armageddon reed tail is a direct reference to the concept of ecological Armageddon, a term used to describe the devastating decline of the insect population around the world. Ecological Armageddon, in decline of insect population around the world. Insect plays crucial role in pollination में, nutrient cycling में, and a food source for other animal. Damsel fly species. Fish mint, herbal plant full of medicinal. Fish mint, it is a herbal plant full of medicinal properties, extend from the Himalayan foothills to the Southeast Asia, China, Korea and Japan. In Meghalaya known as a Mado, Tokning Khok in Manipur, in Assam as Masunduri. फिश has a flesh like taste and smell. इसके ऐसे टेस्ट होता है और स्मेल होती है. Okay, because of ability to regrow from has a fish like taste and smell, hence the name fish. Invasive plant because of ability to regrow from the underground rhizome, forming new plant with medicine properties due to digestive issue, insect bite, fever and cough. Its benefit have been documented in the ancient texts of Ayurveda and Siddha. Fishment. Dancing frog. Dancing frog Western Ghana considered one of the most threatened amphibian genera. As per the second global amphibian assessment of Ayurveda, Nilgiri dancing frog is rated as vulnerable and white-cheeked dancing frog is rated endangered. Nilgiri dancing frog vulnerable. White-cheeked dancing frog is endangered. They are threatened by the invasive species land use change. Threatened by invasive species land use change extreme weather. Threatened by invasive species land use change and extreme weather. Names show as they perform foot flagging, in which males stretch up their hind legs one at a time and wave their webbed toes. Hind leg and wave their webbed toes in air in a rapid motion akin to the dance. Pink bollworm. Damage by pink bollworm to BT cotton burst. Pink bollworm to BT cotton burst in 2 decades. BT Bacillus thuringiensis cotton which incorporates genes from a soybean which pink bollworm specific name Pactinophora. Okay, pink bollworm scientific name Pactinophora. Damage by pink bollworm to BT. Pink bollworm BT cotton. BT is Bacillus thuringiensis cotton which incorporates genes from a soil bacterium code for protein toxin to American bollworm, native to possibly the eastern side of the Indian Ocean. Okay, to possibly the bollworm is any larva of various moth. To possibly the eastern Indian Ocean region. Adult lay egg on cotton ball. Adult lay egg. Adult कहाँ अंडा देते cotton ball. One child the larvae eat the adult lay egg. फिर adult lay egg अंडे से larvae they eat the seed and damage the fiber of the cotton, reducing the yield and the quality. Okay. Cumberland Tiger Reserve. Cumberland Tiger Reserve conducted a butterfly walk and nature's trail event for the first time ever in association with NGOs. About Cumberland Tiger Reserve, it is located in the Lohit Reserve district of Arunachal Pradesh and is named after the Cumberland River which flows through it. Climate कैसा रहता है? Subtropical रहता है. Flora common species of trees include Amora Volichity, Amari, Javelina arborea, Amari gamari, Amora Volichi, Javelina arborea, snow leopard, cloud leopard, tiger Himalayan basswood, hornbill sector, Glow Lake falls within this reserve. यहाँ पे कौन सी रिजर्व रहती है? ग्लो लेक. सब ट्रॉपिकल. कमलांग रिवर. Flow of urban planning concept that advocates putting essential service within walking or biking distance. 15-minute minute cities. It is an 15-minute cities. It is an urban planning concept that advocates putting essential service within walking or biking distance of residents to reduce pollution. It is a special development model to help foster a more local, healthy, equitable and sustainable way of life. कैसा होना चाहिए? Local, healthy, equitable, sustainable. It is a special development model. Okay, हम next part अगले उसमें कर लेते हैं. Thank you so much.